Welcome to She the People's Online Safety Summit powered by Colors. She the People's Online Safety Summit is a collective conversation on current issues that can help us understand the ever changing digital environment. As we know, the challenges on the digital space are many and identified, but the solutions are very few and imperfect. For this edition of our summit, CSR has joined us as our knowledge partner, and our first discussion is on the topic of violation of women's rights online. It is more prevalent than you think. Our moderator for the day is Jyoti Vadhera. She's a gender and child rights activist, head of the Media and Communication Department, and one of the first Indian members of Meta's Global Women Safety Expert Advisors. With over 15 years of experience, she leads mentors and implementation projects in gender rights, digital safety, and sustainable development. So, without wasting much time, I'll hand over the session to Jyoti for moderation. And thank you all for joining us for this summit.
Thanks, Deepshika, and thanks to She the People TV for giving us this platform for this such an important conversation. And wonderful, wonderful women who've joined us. So let me just start by introducing these women. We have with us Rituparna Chatterjee, who is an award-winning editor and a columnist with over 20 years of experience in reporting from the Indian subcontinent on gender and civil rights. She is a safe workplace and sexual harassment prevention campaigner specializing in sexual harassment laws. She was one of the founding editors of HuffPost in India, works as deputy Asia editor at The Independent, is a mentor at Center for Social Research, and is the current India representative of Reporters Without Borders. Hi, Rituparna.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Just a journalist would have sufficed. Rituparna, journalist.
No, we love to brag about all women, and what they've achieved. Similarly, Pari Saikia. Hi, Pari. She is a well-known investigative journalist in Southeastern Asia and covers human trafficking, women's issues, and stories from rural India. She's the recipient of the Grand Prize of European Commission's Lorenzo Natali Media Prize 2021 for her story on trafficking of Rohingya women. She started the first YouTube documentary channel of human trafficking in India. Hi, Pari. Thanks for joining us. We love having you in our events.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
We have Hana Mohsin Khan. She is a women's rights activist, a feminist, and also a media professional turned commercial pilot. She has also written for numerous publications about the Sully deals, controversy, and other social issues in India. And we love reading what Hannah writes. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me here. It's so nice to see such excellent women.
Great. So without wasting any more time, let's begin this conversation, because that's what we're all here for. I would like to say welcome to everyone for She the People TV's Online Safety Summit 2022, and Center for Social Research is the knowledge partner. Our discussion today is on the topic of violation of women's rights online. And as we know, us here, definitely that it is more prevalent than people know or talk enough about. For the better part of the decade, CSR India has been working diligently on issues related to digital safety, security, and rights of women and young children. And we strive to bring a positive change in the digital sphere with the consistent support of definitely She the People TV and lots other partners like them. So violence against women is prevalent in our society, that all we know, and it has translated into the online world, definitely. And it has, it includes psychological violence, physical violence, sexual violence, financial violence. There are underlying causes of violence against women that include historically unequal behavior against women that are also culturally justified, along with inaction from lawmakers. So although the internet is an entity on its own, it does not discriminate against the women or people based on geography, wealth, race, class, or gender. But there is a prevalence of violations and inequality online, especially against women. And we are aware of these inequalities. Typically, women and for marginalized groups are less likely to have proper internet access. So we're talking about access, but also how women are targeted, and also young people online, especially. So jumping right into starting this discussion, I come to you first, Rituparna. So closing the gender divide can benefit the economy of the country as a digital equality. It's equally important for women's rights and empowerment and collective growth of the country. And we need your opinion on this.
So, okay, first I'll. It's a very important topic, and I thank you for both She the People and CSR for doing this. The more conversations we have on this, the more information that we'll have out there. I'll bring you some data first. So, according to the rights group Plan International, 1 in 5 girls and young women have deserted social media platforms or abandoned the use of social media platforms after being targeted in some form. Sexual harassment, doxing, and abuses using use of cuss words, and among these are girls as young as 8 years old. So when we talk about the equitable use, equal and equitable use of social of internet platform, on a daily basis. First, we need to understand that what are the when we talk about gender divide, what are the inequities that we are addressing here? I recall doing a story during the brutal COVID lockdown after the Delta wave, where we're talking of violence, but we are also like violence comes in many forms, inequities come in many forms. So I remember talking to these teachers from rural, areas, village schools and teachers, and one of them mentioned something very interesting and as well as heartbreaking. They said that we have been forced to, of course, take this whole education system online because during COVID lockdown, schools weren't open for 2 years, nearly 2 years. So they said that, so what has happened basically? They are asking children to use, young adults, 16, 17, kids of 7, 8, 9 years old, to use mobile devices or tablets or computers to log into school. But in a home, on an average, there is only one mobile phones where both parents are working as a tailor or daily mazdoor. And that mobile phone, especially if there are, say, 3 children, who are using it, the boys have access to it first, because the girls do not have access to the family device, because it is not considered important for girls to have that. On the face of it, what are they losing? They're losing years of education. They're losing on a channel of empowerment. But deeper, going deeper, what are they really losing? They are losing on information that is life changing. They're losing out an opportunity of bettering their life. Who does it serve if girls lose out opportunities to better their lives? It serves men, right? It serves society, it serves patriarchy, to keep women in their place, to keep women at an age where the conversation starts of marrying them off. So an entire generation are being not given access to internet, not given access to. So yes, I do feel, if you're talking about the country's empowerment, that country's empowerment can't happen without not just equitable distribution of internet and connectivity, also spatial. You have to take care of the spatial divide. When I say spatial divide, I mean that if you see the data, I can't give you a figure right off the top, but I have seen the data. There are more clusters of internet devices, there are more clusters of connectivity in urban areas rather than in rural areas. So you have to talk about, this is such a like a in-depth topic. You have to talk about so many things. So I do feel that one of the main reason for the country not progressing, one of the main reasons for keeping a whole section of the population behind, is this marginalization of resources, internet resources, digital resources. If that answers your question a little bit. Jyoti, are you?
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay. I think you said it very well. You know, this is what we are actually working for, and it's glad that you brought up how, women leave the platform. First of all, access is a huge, huge issue, especially in the rural areas. There is a huge urban and rural divide, definitely. So, access, even in urban areas, access is definitely a problem for young girls and women. They miss out on so much, which is what we are fighting for and constantly working for at CSR. And even the women who do have access, I would say, in all stratas of society, I'm not even talking about the
Sure.
lower stratas or the marginalized women. Even the women who do have access are almost forced to leave these platforms when they face harassment, when they fear punishment, when they, feel unsafe. So thank you for bringing all of this up. Definitely very, very important in this discussion. And now, and this is where I move on to Hannah now. So, Hannah, we see online misogyny spreading like wildfire on various social media platforms. There's fake news, misinformation that keeps trending time and again, right? It's evident that the behavior of digital citizens has completely taken an upside down turn. Cases of cyberbullying, harassment, extortion. This is what we were talking about when Rituparna brought the point forward that women leave the platform. So when there is cyberbullying, harassment, extortion, sharing of intimate images of women, there's revenge porn that has become prevalent. Do you also feel that the online world has become a place where misogyny and hatred are thriving? And is it a reflection of the society that we live in?
Well, absolutely. With the internet and especially with social media, which gives you a platform where you can choose to be anonymous. This is, the kind of trolling, the kind of doxing, the kind of name calling, the kind of, continuous trolling that's been happening. It's been increased because of these anonymous handles. And if it's a reflection on society, I disagree. I think it's the internet that gives a space to such anonymous people is the one that's propagating it. Society has always, throughout history, has always been, you've had wars, you've had tortures and different kinds of atrocities on women. This is just another medium. This is another way to, hurt these people. And I'll touch on what Rituparna just said about women, leaving internet, leaving social media. Um, During the Sully deals time, there were 99 women, around 100 women that were targeted. And the only ones that I could actually reach out to were around 12 and 15. And amongst those 12 and 15, only around 6 of them actually were able to speak up and were able to, fight it. The rest of them, like, I don't even know them. I don't even know who they were. They've come out of they've left internet. There was a lady, there was a woman there. She was upset that her parents are not allowing her to even use a phone anymore. So I've spoken to such women, and that's absolutely, it's a reality. It's not something, it's not just a statistic. It's something that um, I have personally seen. And what effect it has on us, the kind of trolling that you get even after you're a subject to a crime, because Sully deals was a crime. After that, the trolling that you get after that is also insane. People telling you that you shouldn't behave in a certain way, so you're monitored more, you're talked about more. And it just doesn't leave you. Like, for example, when you introduced me, you talked about Sully deals as well. Now everywhere I go, that's how I'm introduced, in a lot of places, and that's not fair. Imagine, trolling has changed a human being's life so much that they are now, if you Google my name, that's what's going to come in. That's unfortunate. And now you have a bunch of, I just call them rabid people who are making it so much harder for women to express themselves, to say what they believe in, to talk about what they want and what they should stand on. And these people are they're making it harder for women, and there are very few women who can actually come out and be strong and say that no, I'm going to fight this. Most of them just take a back seat, as Rituparna said, that most of them are taking a back seat. And as for you asking me if it's a reflection of the society, I disagree. I think internet and social media has made it worse. Like you go to Twitter and it takes away your mental peace after a little while if you're there for too long. So yeah, I don't agree with that. I say that it's worse online.
I completely understand and I agree with everything that you've brought up today. Very, very important points. Anonymity definitely has, made everything more prevalent. It's made it easier for criminals to come online and harass and torture women. And also increasing the digital divide even further. If we back our issues with data and we see how many women leave the platform and what they missed out on, and we put economic numbers to it, I think it'll really astound many people. And I'm glad you're brave enough to talk about the Salidis. I'm quite apologetic of the fact, but yeah, that's the truth. You do, it does come up when we search you, and when we talk about Salidis, your name does come up, and definitely it does change a person's identity, because once on the internet, it never leaves your lives. Once it's uploaded or once it's said on the internet, it just changes the identity of a person. And it's even harder for a woman who's already striving harder than the men to make it in life, in professions, in uh, just a daily existence. And when this is added, it's an extended struggle. And very few, you are right, very few people like you are brave enough to come forward and fight this, talk about it, try to change it for the other woman who might come into contact with something similar. And this is, and which brings me directly to you, Pari, since you work so hard in making sure that women are not trafficked and for the safety of women. And since you're consistently working on women's issues, could you highlight how the internet is violating women's rights? Some key issues that have come up related to women and young girls on the internet and targeted trafficking through cyber means.
Yeah, say human trafficking is a 150 plus billion-dollar business, and women and children are the most common target in this crime. And I think with the advent of technology and internet, this has actually given an advantage to the traffickers, because now they use the dark web, which provides them anonymity, and using the anonymity, now they can reach to their victims, and there is no accountability. It is much easier for them to carry out their illicit activities, their modus operandi, then better, with ease and impunity than before. Initially, what the trafficker used to do, like they used to use the traditional method of, being physically present at the geographical locations, targeting their victims, befriending with them, bribing their minds, gifting them mobile phone or selling them dreams, and then trafficking them. And it does not matter whether it's a boy or a girl, or gender does not matter. All for them, a human being is a commodity, and they need it to traffic for their organs, for the skin, for forced labor, for sexual slavery, for n number of exploitation. So now with the technology, this has given much advantage to them. We see so many cases coming up, and it's so harrowing and so astonishing. You won't believe that how traffickers are now using artificial intelligence. They have cyber experts. They have even lawyers to back them up, to support them to carry out these activities. They have cyber experts. We saw that during the COVID-19 period, the trafficking actually, increased manifold. And it happens due to technology, because though the children and women and everyone must lock inside their house, living with the family, and we all thought that, okay, hum sab safe, we are all safe. But we were not safe. We were available 24/7 to the traffickers through the mode of internet, especially the young people, the children, the young boys and girls who were about to travel, to move to different city for job, for education, for better livelihood, or for a number of reasons. So they all got trapped. So at the same time, the children, the young people were frustrated, were agitated, because they are trapped inside their homes 24/7, and there was no hope. what to do next. So these traffickers, then came up with this idea of developing their own social media networks. They created many chatting applications, then matrimonial websites, online games, so many platforms they come up with. They even use Facebook and Instagram to recruit many, many young people. And you won't believe, when the travel restrictions were in place, so many people from Punjab travel were smuggled, even during the COVID-19 restrictions, to all the way to Europe. I mean, we were doing an investigation last year in Punjab, and this is the second year with Punjab again. We are doing a follow-up story with them, and we saw that so many people travel during those times when there were severe, travel restrictions. They were smuggled, and ऐसा नहीं कि they went to the neighboring state country of Nepal or Myanmar or Bhutan or Bangladesh. They went to Europe, man. See, so that is the extent of technology that now, and shockingly, what we found that when we spoke, most of the survivors who made it to their journey, safe and alive, they said everything happened over a phone. Okay, none of them met the actual mafia, the actual gang master, the mastermind. There was a different individual at different point of different phase to help them pass from one border to another. This is, I'm talking about those people who are recruited online to work abroad. Okay, then we also found so many children where there's so many clips, child sexual abuse material were available online during COVID-19 period. There's so much of demand of child pornography, and India was one of the those countries which showed that the people from India look for more Google search for child pornography. So, and we saw there were many traffickers use the medium of online games to reach out to these children. Okay, so they would befriend these kids, then they would hijack, hack their social media accounts, then they would blackmail them into doing things which, like making them do child pornography or, exploiting them sexually, and then selling those content online to Pornhub. Okay, and then this kept on, and this is still happening. Okay, I mean, I was surprised to see a group of WhatsApp groups recently where it is being used to sell children for sex, and this is happening right in the capital city. This is so difficult to file a case. When we find a, every time we go to a police station to file a case of trafficking, police always would try to dissuade, will always try to downplay it, saying कि victim की ही गलती होती है. Okay, it was her, maybe she was doing it for consent, because none of them would like to file a FIR on trafficking. It happened recently. We were dealing with a case of a Uganda national. She was trafficked through Facebook from Uganda to New Delhi. This is last month, and she was rescued this 11th of August. So when you went with all the evidence, with evidence that was available on the phone, the police still denied it. So sojo people who are using the dark web, and behind this phase of anonymity, they're exploiting so much. How will you prove it that you are being trafficked? This using online for trafficking is nothing but cyber trafficking. So yes, this, I think technology has a boon, as we discussed in the last session with CSR on the World Trafficking Day, that trafficking has an advantage and disadvantage as well. So these are some of my experiences that I have, recently found. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this. It was also in the news. The Ugandan woman's story made me very angry then, and again made me very, very angry today. It's very, very important that you're being brave enough to talk about all of this, Pari. We always marvel at your resolve, and always your how forthcoming you are to talk about these actual issues that are happening. Because when we talk, when you bring in law enforcement or you bring policy makers, it's very difficult to pin them down and tell them about issues that are prevalent, because yes, it is downplayed a lot, and it's time that they are angry and they are, fired up enough to understand that something very, very drastic needs to happen to change this. But as forever an optimist, I would, like to think that yes, there are these traffickers, yes, there are these criminals doing all of this, but we are also doing our part. And every time I hear something like this, and as angry as I get when I hear everything, it also strengthens my resolve to, move forward and do something more, and wake up every day and start all.
Pari, you were
Yes,
doing such
I
great
was going to come
work.
to you only. Yeah, go ahead.
You're
Yes,
doing
yes.
such great work, and it must take so much of your time, not just time and effort and courage to do this. And especially in this, one thing that really resonated is when you spoke about how the police reaction to all of this. So I do want to like mention a little bit about, when the interaction with law enforcement in all of the digital technology. So it's as simple as when you are being sexually harassed online. I do not like using the word troll, because trolling doesn't even begin to explain the experience women have online. It's plain and simple sexual harassment. So you when you try to file a actual physical report in any of your local PS, the difficulty of that process from the very first step, when you are not even I'm not even talking about a general, like I'm not even talking about an FIR, I'm talking about a general diary, like when you just go to the local police station to,
Yeah, DD
like
diary.
a, yeah. And when you just tell them, they will, most people on, in the police force are not, I don't know if they are now, but at least I'm talking about, say, 10 years ago, they do not even know, understand what is happening in the online space. Because and I'm talking about urban metro cities. They, to tell them that I'm being trolled on Twitter is like a literal red tape process, where you have to take printouts of those tweets and you have to compile them in a folder, and you have to give your application in triplicate, and literally you have to write down that application twice. So it's that itself is the first step to deter a person being harassed online. That itself, like so many people I know, so many women, so many queer people I know, say, jane do yaar, ye did not worth this. And it is of a if the crime is of a very serious nature, like I mean, not that this isn't, say a physical violation like rape or molestation or something, police is so reluctant to take down, complaint, but they're always so ready to file a complaint of religious sentiment being hurt.
True.
So that those FIRs happen in 2 seconds, but when you
True.
go to them with a rape complaint, they won't.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a struggle, it's a battle. And I
Yeah.
sometimes say this, like even online I say this, that every day existing as non cis het man in this country, every day it's like going to battle. Every day I can't even, verbalize the experience for vulnerable people from caste, vulnerable caste and religious.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rituparna. But I think it merits a mention here that yes, things have changed a little bit now. There are cybercrime units. I agree, the process is still not perfect, but recently we've started working with the law enforcement also, and there is a portal, and they're doing their bit on awareness drives and making sure every problem is handled. And I would also like to mention here, so at CSR also we encourage everyone, not just women, everyone online, that if they're going through any sort of an issue, if it's trolling, if it's actual sexual harassment, if it is a crime against them, if it's a scam, to reach out to us. We will make sure that we definitely find a solution for the problem, and which is where we are also a bridge to the law enforcement agencies. So it becomes our job to take your case through to the law enforcement, with the police, with intermediaries, with the
That's
social
actually
media
very
platforms.
good to know. That's actually very good to know
Same.
that you do this.
Yeah. So
That's exactly what I was
that
thinking.
me
I'm
also to
actually going to come out and reach out to you.
Definitely do that. Also promote our message, because we are working very hard on spreading the message that if there is something going on with you and you don't want to go to the law enforcement directly, you can definitely come to us. We can be a bridge between the cyber cell or the platforms, whatever is required. And also, there is this new platform that our partners have built called stopncii.org. So what it is? It's in association with revengeporn.com in the UK, and they built this website where you don't have to actually report the non-consensual intimate image that you that has been by a violation of your privacy. If someone else has uploaded it, so you don't have. They build a hash of the image. Even they don't receive the actual image, but they make sure it's taken down from social media platforms. Not just that, even if you fear a picture might get uploaded and you have that picture with you, you can share that as well. So they will make sure that doesn't get uploaded in the first place. So yeah, coming
That's
back to
very
the
good to know, Jyoti. It's very, very good to know.
yeah,
I did not know
please
this.
help us promote
Yeah,
this message,
even I
because
was not aware.
as many people as who can promote this, it would be wonderful. Even if we can reach one girl or one boy or whoever who needs this help, and get this message at the right time. I hope it gets to them. And so, Rituparna, you've already spoken about the police, but there are other stakeholders involved. So, in your opinion, as a journalist, how do we all work together and we reduce the gender gap and violations online? Very simply put, according to you.
So there are many ways, of course. One of the major step forward is literacy, basically internet literacy, and to for women and girls, young adults, not why just women, like for young adults, basically. There's so many people who actually do not know how, like the danger they sometimes face unknowingly when they share a password or they do not know. I'll In all of this grim scenario, I would also like to point out one positive thing that during COVID that happened is women found health websites online. Women found access to doctors online. Women who were not allowed to step out of home, or who did not have access to, because I recall seeing during this whole Delta wave lockdown, a lot of doctors were offering their consultation services online, and WhatsApp to hai hi sabke paas. So there were a lot of women from marginalized communities, and especially in urban, these underprivileged hubs in urban areas, where domestic workers, sexual health workers, who were doing these online consultations. So that is one great window to the world. That's another one great way of opening up these avenues. Digital literacy, yes. Allyship, I can't stress the importance of allyship in the whole process, that if you form whatever the majority or whatever the crowd that you're part of, whatever it can be gender, sexuality, sex, it can be economic, it can be anything, it can be caste. If you come out as an ally, and you also understanding what allyship means, and not being the savior of people who are in distress, not coming from a point of where you're condescendingly looking at this and saying that oh ye to hota hi hai, and I'll just so not that way. Proper true allyship rests in also a safety in numbers. Every time a woman is harassed online, we have seen that we can reduce that drastically if a lot of us start speaking about it. So it's an immediate pushback effect. So I feel allyship is one major way. More, like I said, digital literacy training, then language. I cannot stress the importance of local languages in digital literacy trainings, and because most of the internet language is in English. And for truly empowering people who are users of internet devices and cheap bandwidth of cheap data, much of that information which also tends to, go towards misinformation if that is not, if the language barrier is not, broken. So a lot of these trainings, a lot of these workshops, do it in the regional language, do it in the vernacular language, do it in the local dialect, which I feel is, there it'll be a, big step forward, because information available in your language is information that can open your mind to the world.
Definitely. And I agree with every word you said, Rituparna. Uh, at CSR, we believe in education, awareness generation, and capacity building. And that has been like our motto. And this is what we're living through 24/7. Keep promoting, pushing this. Even with the policymakers, we made a little headway where we're trying to make this safety trainings, the trainings that we do with Meta and Facebook now, part of the school curriculum because of the gravity of the situation. We're building awareness around the gravity of the situation and why we need this to happen. And you guys are helping us really promote this message. And yes, good things did happen when we went online and women found the health system online. You are so right to say that even I did when we weren't stepping out. I saw everyone moving to WhatsApp and consulting doctors there, and doctors also came out in large numbers and did support women in however whichever capacity they could. Um, and we believe yes, very very important language, and to make it localized for communities. Again, I would bring in CSR is working in 6 to 7 languages in all 27 states, and we're trying to reach every last child through our trainings. And we people like you, activists, individuals, organizations, they have been big supporters in us reaching that and in the last mile connectivity. So thanks, Rituparna. And since we're talking about reaching everyone and awareness generation, I would like to talk to Pari now. Pari, how can online platforms, in your opinion, used to combat trafficking of women, vulnerable and targeted individuals? There is a lot of work that is going on, some of which I did mention, but what more can they do?
I think there's a need of, first of all, Ritupana pointed a very important thing that yes, we should emphasize on the regional languages. Every time, even recently when we did the session on trafficking, there were comments on the YouTube on the YouTube page that, why don't you guys do it in Hindi or in a regional language where the common masses can understand. I think we should use English, or we should emphasize on the Hindi maybe next time when we do such kind of session. So yes, so I think regional language plays a very important role, and we can, I think the law enforcement agencies can partner with the app developers, with the cyber team, with the companies that produces apps like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Then there's all these apps like Hive, Mingle, all those friendship, chatting apps and all. So this will help. This will enable the I think the law enforcement agencies to nab the trafficker, to investigate such cases, to help them. They can use the law enforcement agency can also very well use the AI, take the help of AI, data mining, then GPS, then satellite imagery to find out the hotbeds, the hot pockets of trafficking. Okay, and on based of those satellite imagery, they can not only figure out the hotbeds of trafficking pockets, but can also set up small units with in collaboration with NGOs and schools, and then so that they can set up trainings on cyber security, or digital literacy and all. This is important because when I was traveling in 2018 to West Bengal, I saw one thing. This particular area called Odlabar is a very small area in West Bengal, and I was researching on a trafficking case on child trafficking, and I found that though people were living in abject poverty, are still living in abject poverty, and they don't have basic. They don't even have 2 meals a day. Kids, the family members, but there were phones, one phone for all the family members, with minimal internet usage, and they were all glued to Facebook and YouTube, trying to entertain themselves through Facebook and YouTube platform. So I thought, why not use these platforms to educate them, on things like what is trafficking, how to save yourself from trafficking, and how to identify traffickers, this and that. And that's how I actually came up with the idea of bringing my own YouTube channel on trafficking. Okay, so I think all this internet I think here the law enforcement agency can play a very private role by collaborating or partnering with the app developers, cyber cell team, and yes, and this very well they can come up with they can combat this trafficking problem. They can also uh, uh, I think with the help of cybersecurity and app developers, they can at least prevent the explicit content from getting spread. Like if you I can provide you numbers. If you all you need to just text them and say, hey, I need a girl of 15 years old or this for for this, and you will get you will have a lot of pictures with minors pictures with the rate, okay, with the price on it. So disturbing. Okay, so I think the law enforcement agency here needs to up their game by collaborating with the technological tech companies, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all agree. And does make us very, very angry. I could hear Hannah sign on the last bit of information that you shared with
Right.
us. And Pari, we really like admire the wonderful work you're doing on YouTube. Kudos to your work and how brave you are to bring this to everyone's attention. And you brought in the point about dating websites also, which are also players in the game where they are doing their bit. But I agree with you, they need to up their game and they need to invest more in safety.
Right.
Recently, CSR built a whole a safety booklet with one of these dating sites, Bumble, and one small drop in the ocean, but I think we are headed in the right direction, but not fast enough. I agree with you. Everyone needs to up their game and do a bit more. And now, finally, coming to you, Hannah, what advice you would like to give to everyone watching today about whatever we've discussed, and let us move towards the end of this discussion with a message of hope coming from you.
Well, I want to talk about young adults, young women out there who are especially affected even more with all the, as Rituparna rightly said, sexual harassment. You can't really call it trolling. I'm absolutely, she's right. That, when I've seen some younger women completely devastated when something like this happens to them, and they have so many mental breakdowns and mental issues, and they don't know who to talk to, because at home if they speak to somebody they will say that tum ja hi kyun rahi ho. That's the standard answer. And I would tell them, especially them, because I feel for them most. We are adults, we're even if it's hard for us as well, but when you're younger, it's you start thinking that it's your fault. Okay, and it's not. It's not. Nobody gets to treat you in a way that you do not want to be treated. It is not your fault. That is number one. Number two, get an adult involved. Get an adult, someone older, someone senior, someone who you admire. Reach out to them and record all the problems, all the trolling or the sexual harassment or whatever. Record it, so that tomorrow if there is something that you can you can take an action against them, you must. And just remember that it is just not your fault. Your identity does not change by what other people are saying about you. They can say whatever they like. Your identity, no one can change that. Who you are as a person, no one can change that. No one takes away that by saying rubbish online or offline. It is in your hands. So this is my advice to them, that do not think that it is your fault. Even for a millisecond, do not think it is your fault. That's my message to them.
Very, very, very important. Yes, it is not you. It's never you. It's not your fault. And we can't say this enough to the teenagers, to the young girls and boys, and everyone else, even adults. Everyone needs to hear this. This is a crime against your rights. It's not your fault. And ask for help. definitely ask for help. I think somehow in the culture of doing everything on your own and being a superhero in your daily lives, especially women managing everything for themselves, it's not the culture to ask for help. Women try to do everything on their own, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So don't hesitate to ask for help if there are things going wrong online, especially, and if there are if someone's there is a crime against you that is happening. Yes, you should be aware that this is a crime, this is wrong, and also it's cool to ask for help. Please reach out to whoever you can, and organizations like Center for Social Research are always there, and this is our day job, this is what we do, we want to help you. So reach out. And with this, I would just say thank you. This was amazing. I think I've noted down so many points that all of you brought up, and will definitely come back to you with so much more. And we are going to bother you with more inputs in the future, and we really admire the work that we do. And not for you, but for everyone who's listening, I just want to say that let us together pledge to stop violence against women. Like Rituparna said, allyship. If there are enough of us there supporting each other, I think we can do good damage to those who want to cause us harm. Not revenge, but yes, we need to just stand up together, stand against whatever is wrong, against the violations that are happening online. Don't just be a bystander, I would like to say, but actively play your part and combat this onslaught of violations against women. We will continuously support women across the country, raise awareness, break the silence, and build in solidarity. The internet, we all agree, has great potential, so let us use it for empowerment and equal opportunities.
Thank you
That's
so
all
much.
I would love to say.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
Thanks a
much,
you.
lot.
everyone.
Such an
This
important
was
Thank you.
lovely.
Thank you. Also, so
Pari,
lovely.